So, what have I been trying to get you to learn? What am I trying to say? As I think about this equation, what I want you to learn is what has to change in you in order for you to, one, feel happiness, and two, begin a transformation. This is a process. One day you'll use the equation and feel good about your accomplishment. Then you'll have another day when you just sob internally or externally. But the equation is a tool that will quickly help you get back on the road, back on your journey.
Oh yeah, growing happiness with Dr. C. Alchemy for your soul. The Transformation Podcast. The Transformation Podcast.
Welcome back. This is the last episode of the equation series. We will recap the equation and tools you should use to help you move closer to your happiness goal. A reminder, happiness isn't just a fleeting mood or a reaction to a lucky day. The equation is a tool, a powerful one. It has the power of the most sophisticated Swiss Army knife. But if you pull out a brand new, pristine Swiss Army knife the first time you meet a bear, it probably won't save you from the harm the bear intends for you. If you've taken the time to work out the power of the knife beforehand, you'll be in far better shape when the moment comes. That's what I want from you, to learn how to depend on a systematic way of thinking systematically. And I want you to always remember that you are already happy, even if you've buried the happy under a bunch of crap. The equation will help you find the pile your happiness is under. Can you imagine how happy will look at you happily when you finally find it? Happy has been so sad, waiting, not knowing you didn't realize it was with you all along. This is the last iteration of the equation. We first analyzed the life of Dr. Daniels and how all her most impressive educational accolades didn't help her when it came to healing her heart. In the second episode, we analyzed the life of Jalen Brunson, a man literally, skillfully groomed to develop a mind that already had built-in tools. We must grow our happiness from the inside out. Once we learn the nature of growth, I think you'll understand the intent of the equation, how to use it, and when to use it. We'll wrap up this last episode with a recap of the equation and an action step to get you one step closer to happiness. As a matter of fact, I'd love to hear one thing that made you happy today.
You don't really know whether your emotional structure works until life sends a form of pressure you haven't practiced for. Let's relate self-love to a greenhouse. You give it care, attention, and the right environment to grow. Do not confuse being wanted with being valued. Guidance is not control. So, what is the science of a greenhouse? It's about trapping heat from the sun to create a warm environment for plants. Greenhouses provide a controlled climate. This reduces the need for chemical interventions, and it extends the growing season.
You must create your own controlled emotional greenhouse climate. Your emotional climate will protect you from sudden emotional storms, heat waves, and frost that stunt your emotional growth.
Are you building a greenhouse for yourself or only for others? Let's begin with truth. Now, consider your safety. Think about your boundaries. Reflect on processing. Finally, your grounding.
Let's recap Dr. Daniels' emotional structure.
Dr. Daniels' structure looked perfect on paper, but crumbled when tested in real life. When unmet emotional need fuses with a power imbalance and secrecy, it becomes self-betrayal. This constant push-pull swing destabilizes a person until they no longer trust their own mind. How was the life of Jalen Brunson different?
Jalen Brunson was surrounded by professional athletes and healthy emotional influences since childhood. His parents engineered an environment of discipline and accountability. When emotional javelins were hurled his way, he had a blueprint to stave them off.
So, will my dignity be in jeopardy? Oh, I sure hope not. A queen's got to keep her crown.
The cost of outsourcing your dignity. Seeking help but falling into the cage of false love. Exploitive vulnerability of a safe place makes the need for love dangerous. You stop asking what's true and just try to survive.
Seeking help is still sacred. Dr. Daniels did the right thing. Vulnerability isn't the problem. The container is. After spending time with someone, ask yourself these 3 questions. First, agency. Did you feel more free or more dependent? Second, respect. Did they increase your dignity or decrease it? And third, boundaries. Was your no respected? Cultivate your own greenhouse. Seek help. Seek truth. Build a structure rooted in safety, accountability, and real love.
Let's take another look at the equation in a different light.
We often treat a good mood like a weather event, a lucky break where everything happens to go right for a few hours. The problem with waiting around for a good day is that it strips you of your own agency. If joy is left entirely to chance, you have zero control over when it actually arrives. But genuine, lasting contentment doesn't work that way. It operates under a much stricter set of rules. It is a measurable, structured system. Think of it as an equation. You take your soul, which provides your roots. You add your spirit, which dictates your rhythm. Finally, you factor in your body, the physical rhyme. When those three variables merge together, the result is one whole, happy body. The math only works when these internal gears align. Your physical biology and your psychological truths have to speak the exact same language and turn at the exact same speed. Because this is a precise structural equation, it demands constant maintenance. You need a daily framework to ensure those variables don't drift out of balance. That maintenance protocol relies on three specific operations: awareness, action, and accountability. Memorizing the equation won't change your baseline. To achieve internal harmony, you have to actively drive your daily choices through this exact three-step cycle, day after day. The first phase is awareness, which serves as your internal audit. You can't fix a system if you refuse to look at the data. Take your spirit, for example. When your mind generates an unhelpful thought, you need a way to process it. Picture a hot plate. You drop the negative thought onto the burner, watching it shatter into tiny pieces to sweep it away. Your soul requires a different kind of observation. At the end of every day, your job is to pinpoint exactly one moment where you felt fully, authentically you. If you can't find a single moment, that blank space is crucial information. You have to document exactly what got in the way. You aren't trying to solve the problem yet. This phase is strictly about gathering the raw behavioral data required to diagnose exactly where your internal equation is failing. Once you have the data, you shift from passive observation into active movement. This is the action phase. To move your soul's purpose forward, you start keeping a dedicated running list. You title it, "What Lit Me Up?" and you log the small triggers, even brief moments, that resonate with your authentic self. For your spirit, you keep a journal of the specific thoughts that hinder your growth. Recording those exact mental roadblocks over time is how you spot long-term psychological patterns. And for the body, you log your daily physical functions. You analyze what habits are keeping you energetic and which routines have stopped serving you entirely. The physical act of writing these metrics down daily strips your mind of its ability to ignore harmful habits. It forces you to deal with reality. The third phase is where the rubber hits the road: accountability. This is the friction point that ensures the promises you make to yourself are actually kept. If you haven't figured out what your soul's purpose is or how to use your specific gifts, you hold yourself accountable by seeking external guidance. You reach out to a mentor or an entrepreneur working in a field that interests you. To keep your spirit accountable, you mandate 10 minutes of study every day to understand the mechanics of an emotional chemical. Say you pick dopamine. You study its functions, its triggers, and its effects on your mood, and you build a permanent visual map of that data to serve as a personal reference guide. For your body, you rigidly define which foods and drinks disrupt your system, while actively injecting new variables, like a new fruit or vegetable, to test your biological boundaries. This structured accountability translates temporary bursts of motivation into permanent physiological shifts in your baseline. To ensure the entire alignment system holds up, you run one final overarching test at the end of each week. You sit down and ask yourself a very specific question. Would the version of you 10 years in the future be proud of how you spent today? You write down the brutally honest answer. You skip the answer you wish were true, and you document the reality of your actions. Then you ground that heavy psychological reflection with a basic biological anchor. Did you allow your body to move today, even for just 5 minutes? Stretching, walking, or dancing in the kitchen, all of it counts. Contentment is never passively discovered. It is an architectural project, engineered daily through the relentless, deliberate alignment of your soul, your spirit, and your body.
We must reiterate our 3 daily action phases we need to follow to begin our growing happiness transformation. Once again, they are awareness, action, and accountability. Let's listen to make sure we know what to do today and tomorrow.
Welcome to the alignment equation, the path to your internal harmony.
Happiness is an equation of alignment. where soul, spirit, and body speak the same language.
Wishing to be happy isn't enough. We need a daily practice. First, awareness. Notice your baseline. Then, action and accountability. Evaluate how you honored your true needs today. Just find one moment where you felt like you. That is information too. Welcome. Let's use the hot plate method as our spiritual tool. First, drop the negative thought like a hot plate. Second, let it shatter into tiny pieces. Finally, sweep the fragments away to clear your mind. Phase 2. Write observation to create documentation. Use these records to see patterns over time. The daily action logs help you grow in soul, spirit, and body. For your soul, keep a What Lit Me Up list. For your spirit, maintain a lingering thoughts journal. And for your body, do a habit analysis.
This is phase 3, accountability. Hold yourself to the promises you make. If you're unsure, reach out to a mentor. Spiritual accountability, the chemical map. Study one emotional chemical for a week. Create your own chart.
Physical accountability starts with fuel and movement. Audit your fuel. List what works and what disrupts your body. Seek adventure. Try new foods to build excitement. And get moving for 5 minutes. Stretch, dance, walk. You got this. Let's observe the action steps in our daily blueprint. For your soul, add to your What Lit Me Up list. For your spirit, journal any hindering thoughts. And for your body, log your daily habits. Be aware of your baseline. Take action to document your truth. Hold yourself accountable to your future. This session is now complete.
So, why should people want happiness? Let's be clear. We should want happiness because it dictates our physical reality. We are biologically wired to respond to our thoughts and emotions. When we lack internal alignment, stress dictates our cellular structure, keeping us locked in a state of survival. Pursuing happiness is essentially practicing the alchemy of emotions. It transforms how our neurochemistry operates. By developing internal literacy, the ability to accurately read and interpret your body's biological signals, you stop fighting yourself. You learn to recognize what a drop in energy or a spike in anxiety is actually asking for. We want happiness because it moves us out of survival mode and into a state of thriving, optimizing everything from our cellular health to our mental clarity. This is a key insight because happiness is not the absence of negative signals. It's the ability to interpret those signals correctly so your body can recalibrate its own chemistry. Is happiness worth growing? Absolutely, because happiness is not something you passively find. It is something you actively cultivate. Growing happiness is a daily practice of tuning in. Like tending a garden, it requires learning the curriculum of your own biology. It means paying attention to what feeds your spirit, what grounds your soul, and what nourishes your physical form. It is worth the effort because the alternative is letting external circumstances dictate your internal ecosystem. When you take on the work of growing it, you become the architect of your own well-being. If today's episode showed you anything, it's that you can't transmute what you haven't read. Before you can do the alchemy of emotions, you need the tools and vocabulary, and that's exactly what the happiness equation, awareness, action, accountability, workbook gives you. It's free. It walks you through the entire awareness, action, accountability system for your soul, spirit, and body, and it turns everything we just talked about into something. Head to the link in the show notes, grab your copy, and start today. If something in this series helped you, even just one idea, do me a favor, subscribe and share this episode with one person who needs to hear it. That's how we grow happiness together, one person at a time. This wraps up the happiness equation series, but your work is just beginning. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you grow. And I'll be right here with you every step of the way. Don't forget to download the happiness equation, awareness, action, accountability workbook.